There's a part of the question you missed out where the person said, I went to where I'm supposed to pick up my registration, my voter's card, and they could not find it. Two different people asked that question, but they checked the system and their names are there. So is it possible to have a link or an online link where you can say, okay, I can trace where my card is located and then go there to pick it up? Because instead of going there and they are searching through and they can't find it. And as you said, there are a lot of backlog of cards that have not been collected.
Like I told you, that if somebody goes to a place where he registered, which he can find out with our online registration, and he could not see his card, please let us know. We have information. Once we put it down, we find out whether that card has been printed, whether it was missing after being printed. We look at all these things, and if we find out you've not collected it, we'll give you a card. Mind you, some people have collected our cards through Proxy. So these are things we have to. In terms of the online, yes, we have pvcdirectional.inecnigeria.org. We are almost finalizing on it and we'll launch it very soon, such that we will try to make you to track your card to a particular place. We've done the testing, we'll soon launch it, and once we launch it, we'll let the public know about it.
Okay, let's go to Mr. Uze. There are a number of emails here and tweets. This one is from Dari. He said, I went to one of the INEX registration centers in Lagos to apply for transfer of my PVC from Owerri to Lagos since June 2017. But yet, nothing has been done, even as at yesterday. And of course, Kunle Og is also asking the question, how long does it take to transfer? I went to a center and was told to come back in 3 months.
Yes, but the actual transfer, you apply when you go to the registration center. That's when the application is. We have to do the back end. It has to go to the Resident Electoral Commissioner by law, who now has to approve each one. That process in itself doesn't really take that time. But after doing that one, we now have to batch these things and print them along with all the other permanent voters cards that will be printed. So it takes a couple of months. But I think Assurance is Chidi, Engineer Chidi Wanfo can speak more on that. But we've already said that by first week of May, all those cards, all those who registered in 2017, they will have their cards ready. But maybe Chidi will throw more light on that.
Yeah, let me say something on this. You know, I was telling you that the PVCs that are ready to be collected has been the one for 2015 and all the other elections we've had. For all the registrations in the first phase, second phase, and third phase of 2017 till December, when we finished, the car, including transfers, as my record to date, I have almost 235,000 and more of those that have transferred that has been included for printing. So all the people that are, including the person that made that request, they will get their cards, all things being equal, and I can assure you, by first week of May. So all those cards of last year that the registrations have been done, which is about 4.2 million people, including, when you now include the transfer, and then we also include those unprinted PVC, they said that we didn't print their card, we verify, we've gotten that, we're printing all. So by first week, we'll have over 4 million cards ready for people to collect. Thank you.
Okay, since we are still with you, let me ask, Ikmawasa wants to know the plans, that have been put in place to identify underage registration and double registration.
Okay. These are two issues. One, double registration or multiple registration. We have the technology for that, and we are using at least an FBI certified system. And we have used it to get over 6 million people, more than that when we did it last period. And even what we are doing now, we are getting, although the reduction has been. So we use this system, we call it AFIS, Automated Fingerprint Identification System. If you identify fingerprints that are cross the threshold of showing that they're almost similar or the same, we bring it down and you can see the pictures will be clear and we remove. So we remove a lot. So we've been doing that. Yes, one way or the other, because of error, which may happen in every technology, we have noticed that about 0.002% could come up. However, when we now talk of the other aspect, which has to do with underage registration, Yes, some people told me about facial. You can use facial registration, facial recognition to do underage. I've not confirmed that. It's not very okay for me. It's not full confirmation to check. So what we do is, after we have done the multiple registration removal, we do what we call business rules by looking at the fingerprints. We make sure everybody has a fingerprint. We now print this register and set up a team. Now look at this register. We've done all the technology that allows us. Let's look at it manually. Do we see any? And when we see any, we remove them at the register and we give it out. Mind you, this register has citizen participation. We have display that we put up for people to look at and tell us about. We also give this register to political parties. Please, if you see any of this, we would like to correct.
But how many
if you see any of them, bring it back.
Mr. Nwafo,
and we'll
how many
that
of these?
Yes.
How many of these people with double registrations and all of that have been prosecuted? Because I do know that it's an offense to register twice or to register more than once.
I may not have the number, but I know that we reported the matter to the police and the right authorities. What they have done for that, I may not have the information. But I recall that most of them were called, questions, investigation was going on. But we released it to them. And even we released it before 2015 election to the public. We even showed pictures of those that did it. But as a commission, we stop at that by giving them all those matters. What has happened to that, I may not be able to answer. Maybe my colleague can help me on that.
I was just going to say that we are not an investigative body. When we see what prima facie happens to be a crime, is to refer to the security agencies. They do the investigations and get backwards for the prosecution for those things that are against the electoral offense. INEC prosecutes offenses known to the Electoral Act, but the investigative part of it has to be done by the security agencies.
Okay, that question about underage voting, is there a plan to stop it? And what's the plan?
Underage registration, I said, there have been this citizen participation. We've been trying our best to remove it if we see, when we now look at it manually. But you recall that something happened in Kanu, a committee is there, and they're working. We also want, when they finish, we look at that report, dig deep into it. We want people to help us. Let me also make this clear. No register anywhere in the world is dynamic. People make input, and when you make input, you make it better. So there are plans, and these plans is to continuously look at this register. If you see any, you remove it and question and find a way. If somebody doubt that is not, let them come up. So we have that process, but we need to strengthen it after this committee when they come back from Kanu.
Okay, Mr. Ozi, the question of costs, the amount of money spent during elections in Nigeria, many will say is astronomical, from the politician side to the INEC side. What's the plan to reduce the cost of elections in Nigeria?
Well, it's especially in a country such as ours, where resources are dwindling and at the same time there are conflicting priorities. We must limit how much we spend in each particular field, and election management is not an exception. It might surprise you to know that for the past 3 years, we've run on the same basic envelope system and the same budget we've had 3 years ago is still what we have basically last year and what we've been given for this year, although the budget has not been passed. It's a challenge. We're trying to make the system a lot more efficient. But there are other things that you cannot cut costs on. In some countries, Mexico, for example, ad hoc staff are volunteers. It's like jury duty. You don't really pay them. You just give them dry snacks and things like that. In Nigeria, you must give them an allowance, you must feed them, and you must give them a stipend. It's not much, but it still costs, is a sizable chunk of the cost of elections.